Analysis.
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 Oh, I'm more of an operational psychologist, so I don't really do dream analysis. Analysis.
Oh, okay.
You think I'd kill him over that?
Any idea who would?
No.
I'm gonna need to take that back for analysis.
Who dropped it?
Canning got Rosanna to flip to his side by showing her a document from J&L Pesticides.
What kind of a document?
An internal analysis of what they were willing to pay. This isn't 5795, this is 5794. The Manny Lyons case, my mistake. Oh, I see that you ran the analysis on both cases.
Heard about this 9mm shell fragment? McVeigh included this 9mm shell fragment in his analysis. He thought it was part of the bullet that went through the officer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Bao. You told me to stay in touch.
Yeah, Bao, I'm a little bit busy right now.
I did a deeper analysis of the IP address, where the recent embedding came from.
Mr. Szabo, as a forensic evidence technician, did you perform an analysis of the soil from Mr. Kaharski's sneakers?
Yes. A real one. Here's the analysis from the blinking experiment.
You just getting in, Loka?
And we'll be working with your compliance team.
No, they have already done their analysis, and you will be fresh eyes.
Can you interpret? It's not for me. It's for Jim.
Your landlady needs a print analysis?
A friend of hers dropped by the house. I think he's up to something.
Urgent.
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 Diane, tell her it's urgent. It's urgent. It's urgent.
I understand it'll take some time, but this is urgent. This is urgent. This is urgent. I just need a new fix.
This also for whoever's heading up the missing dancers case. Said it's urgent. Said it's urgent. Said it's urgent.
Your Majesty.
Yes.
Some papers to sign.
Later.
I'm sorry, Your Majesty. They're rather urgent. People want paying.
What is so urgent?
Yeah. Can you make an appointment with Jim Gunnison over at the FDA? Tell him it's urgent, right?
My name's Lou Nemiroff. I'm with the American Embassy. There's an urgent matter that we need your help with.
Is there any way you can squeeze me in today? It's urgent. I can make that work.
An urgent matter has arisen.
Urgent enough that you sully this chamber with her presence.
I don't care where he is. Find him. It's urgent. Yes, I'll hold.
This can't be good.
Just that I'd find you here. It's urgent.
What was so urgent?
Well, how would you like to meet the man behind that magnificent forgery you spotted?
We have a meeting. It's urgent. Sorry.
You know what? It's okay.
Audience.
Audience. Audience. Audience.
Audience.
Emoticon performs at like every pep rally. School spirit. Yeah, I mean, who wants to be some rando screaming at him from the audience? Audience.
I wouldn't.
Arrivals and departures run side by side. You're a first audience. You're a first audience. You're a first audience, you know?
Need an audience. An audience. An audience.
You need it, don't you?
Sir, we have an audience.
Commander Wiggin.
Only as the mayor, who until now has never been seen in public, we do want to warn our audience that some of these images are graphic.
Maybe you just go ahead and anoint you king of Chester's Mill.
Shut your mouth, Jim. No audience down here.
Let me kill this man for you.
Very well. You have quite an audience. Make it worth their while.
Your Grace. His Don is here, waiting in the audience chamber.
Hunter, Idaho.
What's the word?
In his office.
Director requests an audience.
The man doesn't do requests. And listen,
they should have stuck to juggling.
They were just trying to help save the circus.
Well, they wanted more time in front of the audience.
Oh, did he?
I know how to please an audience.
Lives in the Tea Tree Apartments over on Naylor.
Any family?
Just his audience, as far as I know.
Man, that's just sad.
Estate. Estate.
Estate.
Estate.
Estate.
Estate, huh? Mm-hmm. This was the estate, huh? Mm-hmm. This was the estate, huh? Mm-hmm. Shit.
Yours truly.
The esteemed General Zinn requests a private audience with the Dragon Warrior at his country estate. Country estate. Country estate.
Sherry must have bought it at the estate sale. The estate sale. The estate sale.
Help you.
Murphy versus Dunleavy. The state charged a real estate developer for turning away low-income tenants based on his so-called morality.
John Nickel is one of the wealthiest real estate developers in Sterling City. He is also one of the dirtiest.
So sorry, I just don't understand what you mean when you say claim your title.
Well, it's common for people in the first estate to leave a trust for any potential recurrence.
getting through this wall is just the beginning. There's a whole lot of real estate in between here and the outside walls.
Pennsylvania, 17 calls.
That's it. We're searching for recent non-residential real estate transactions made by your Yavich.
Horrible. We'd like to host an engagement fete for the families at our country estate.
The serial number belongs to a lot that was sold by the manufacturer directly to Fuller Estate Management.
Just that the victim purchased it a year and a half ago and paid cash for the full amount.
Yeah, the real estate agent was surprised anyone bought it. It'd been on the market for quite a while.
Feminine. 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 Feminine.
Feminine.
Boys, I like her. Yeah, me too. She'll bring a feminine touch. Feminine touch. Feminine touch.
Doubt, because I do not subscribe to the American ideal of feminine beauty, but such powerful women.
Feminine wiles? Feminine wiles? Feminine wiles?
No, I'm getting used to Marion. I really like it. Makes me see your feminine side.
Oh.
And that's gonna tell you everything you need to know about masculine and feminine, right?
Okay.
You know, and just feminine with all this laugh running through me.
I've managed to tap into my feminine side. So tell me, how are things with you in here?
There needs to be a masculine energy and a feminine energy, even in ours.
She taught us to honor the divine feminine.
We must have a care for feminine sensibilities. They are finer and more fragile than our own.
Me, I never would have fallen for that sting.
I'm sorry, honey, what?
You used your feminine charms to entrap me.
I was just doing my job.
So that you can be weak when you want to be.
Weak?
Well, feminine.
Lobby.
Lobby. Lobby.
Lobby.
Lobby.
There's no smoking in the lobby, sir. In the lobby, sir. In the lobby, sir. There's no smoking in the lobby, sir.
Where is Dean?
He's down in the lobby hitting on some frumpy chick who dug him in law school. And he wanted me to let you know he's sorry there's no money for bail.
You fuckers ratted me out.
That might be another reason why he's staying in the lobby. Lobby.
Who's gonna serve it? 5 guys? Forget it. They'll never get through the lobby.
Look at this. You knew all about airbags and seatbelts. Fucking commercial runs on a loop in the lobby where she works.
Any governor in the country.
80%?
And she got it by taking on the oil lobby and the Republican establishment.
Hey, do you guys got a guy in that lobby yet?
No, but I do have some good news.
Jesus. Do you need backup?
No, I got DEA in the lobby.
In here, you pets think you own the lobby.
Nice bike. So what would you like me to do with your 5 o'clock keys out in the lobby?
Will you just tell them we'll have to reschedule? Thank you.
I think I was stretched out in the lobby of the Commodore Hotel.
Assumption.
Assumption.
Assumption. Assumption.
Assumption.
You are so filled with assumptions, assumptions, assumptions. Regina is not the one we have to worry about.
Professor Stein, I'm afraid you have made a terrible assumption, that I need you alive.
But his whole assumption about the virus seems to be wrong.
Anyway, the speed with which things normalize depend on a number of factors, including worldwide weather patterns, which were modeled without the assumption that cars, planes, boats, and trains wouldn't be pouring hydrocarbons into the atmosphere this long.
Just pause right now. Does this mean you're done, or are you just taking a breath in between stupid assumptions? Stupid assumption.
Oh. That's my first assumption as well, until I took a closer look.
Snow.
That's an awfully big assumption.
No.
If he had said 5 more will die, the assumption would be that he meant Paris, and we could not be on the case.
What that Volm told Tector was an assumption based on his device.
Yeah, I think we gotta start with that assumption.
Convenience. Convenience. Convenience.
Convenience.
Convenience.
It's like I'm a convenience stan. Convenience stan. Convenience stan. Except for when my faith comes up. Then he becomes...
My relationship with Lestrade started as a marriage of convenience. 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 When it came to those at Scotland Yard who agreed to work with me.
Before you got here, he pointed out that most of these drawers were chosen because of convenience. Convenience. Convenience.
Seeking to infiltrate Washington at the earliest convenience.
It's just about the money.
We got a string of conveniences for her, and a string of inconveniences for you.
Oh, you got an address on the license, 1501 Pine Mill Park. Now home of your local grab-and-go convenience market. I guess he hasn't updated his license address since he moved. Here's something.
Air tactic. An auto supply shop in Eastport Plaza and a convenience store in Troutdale.
Ah, so they're moving up in the world.
Interesting. Call just came through. Convenience store around the corner was hit.
Genius here held up the convenience store across the street from a police precinct.
Not the smartest plan.
Well, isn't that one of the Iron Heights escapees?
Dumbass here tried to rob a convenience store, but he gave up as soon as I pulled in.
Hey.
Robbery at the convenience store on Brandon Paulson.
Come on. Kind of on a date.
Instinct will take over again. Like it did at the convenience store.
Reaction.
Reaction. Reaction.
Reaction. Reaction.
Oh. What? What? Your reaction. Your reaction. Your reaction. What? I didn't. I did.
How did he get into our system? I don't know, Mr. Chairman.
I'm assuming by your reaction that you know who I am.
I think I need to listen to it again.
No. I want your immediate reaction. Reaction. Reaction.
Immediate reaction.
It would be fine. But it won't. I can tell. Seeing your reaction.
Got a much bigger reaction upstairs.
I wanted to get an honest reaction to this photograph.
So you accidentally removed your headscarf?
Yeah.
And what, you were gauging the reactions of the men?
Yes. Terrorists tend to see the world in black and white, so we thought we might get a reaction. Okay, so this is the video capture of the first group of men we talked to. When I took off my headscarf, there were a lot of reactions, shock, interest.
Damn, girl, no wonder you've been keeping us on the low.
Yeah, because I was afraid of this exact reaction.
You should be.
He bobs to the music. It's the only real reaction I'm getting from her.
You want my sperm?
We think a severe allergic reaction could be causing systemic breakdown.
To my son's sperm?
The broader market started a chain reaction by high-frequency trading servers.
Like an old Florida Jew.
Which was right after the game. It was a delayed reaction.
No, it's never just one thing that causes it. It's a chain reaction.
Loyal.
Loyal.
Loyal. Loyal.
Loyal.
Climb on Koo's back with your sister. You are a brave and loyal dog. Loyal dog. Loyal dog.
Hear me, future dweller. You shall be my loyal servant, loyal servant, loyal servant, until such time as I release you.
Oh, really? You think you can handle me and all my loyal customers? Huh?
I'm using AJ for a lesson.
Lucky man.
You're very loyal to him, aren't you?
How could that go wrong?
I know, right? Tigress, my most trusted and loyal friend.
Old Yeller. Yeah, Old Yeller was the best, most loyal dog there ever was. I mean, everybody loved that mutt.
My loyal subjects, we have a very special personage with us.
You are by far the smartest one of the three of us. You're loyal, you're funny.
He was my friend, yes.
Yeah, you were the big guy who didn't treat him like a dog turd. He was loyal to you.
And you need me. Half your managers have jumped ship, but I stayed loyal to you.
Oh, wait a minute. You want to talk to me about loyalty?
Not anymore.
Why didn't you just come over to Stearns? You don't seem like the loyal type.
I know, it's crazy, huh?
Went on consignment.
Why would you go and do something like that?
Because I can tell you're going to be a loyal customer. I'm all about loyal customers.
I get that I wasn't your first choice to marry Claire, but it's been 18 years, and there hasn't been a day when I wasn't a loyal husband to your daughter and a great dad to your grandkids.
I prefer to work on my own.
What about your loyal protector?
Bathe.
Bathe. Bathe.
Bathe.
Bathe.
Let's see. I bathed in Arctic mountain water, bathed in Arctic mountain water, bathed in Arctic mountain water, while my Latin lover recited verse to me.
Dude, you can't see me? I'm invisible? This is totally radical. I will never have to bathe again. Bathe again. Bathe again.
Neighborhood destined for hell. And why do you still trek to Italy to pay good money to bathe in plain spring water?
You look like you slept in a soup kitchen urinal.
You look like you bathed in a dumpster behind the abortion clinic.
Oh, boo! I love your hatred. I bathe in it. It makes my beard grow.
I'm going to bathe your wound, but it's going to hurt. So, just listen to me, okay?
Where I come from, a simple thank you would suffice.
Where you come from, people bathe in the river, bathe in the river, bathe in the river, and use pine cones for money.
Come on, let's go.
King's blood build this house. Then let us bathe in it.
You're like cool fun dad. You get to read and play games, and then I bathe and I...
That's right, I'm cool.
I love being bathed in the sink. Such a feeling of security.
Rate.
Rate.
Rate. Rate. Rate.
A mass murderer. Your heart rate is jacked.
Assaults were down. Muggings down. The murder rate dropped by 16%. So in a very quantifiable way, this man in the hood had been a positive force in this city.
Speaking.
So is he really okay? His heart rate is within normal range for him.
Cross some stuff out, you know.
Yeah?
No mention of divorce rate or...
Don't know him.
What about me then? What would you rate me?
Well, if it was prick size, I'd give you a 2.
The tumors we're working so hard to eradicate. The survival rate of patients with severe endothelial growth decreases exponentially the more the condition advances.
That's tonight. Who's ready, boys? We're just gonna finish this client brief on interest rate projections, and then we will head out.
That I think you might be interested in. This will greatly increase your gunner's rate of firepower.
10 guns, and given that I've observed them close at hand, I simply deduced their cyclic rate of fire. Between them, they're capable of launching 33 volleys comprising 333 discharges.
How many dirt tiles?
23. We've been losing them at a steady rate all day.
Her
heart rate's way up. She's probably septic.
What does that mean?
It's unstable. It's exponentially increasing the rate of fission inside his body.
Goodbye to Mary Margaret for her.
Oh, at the rate mermaids swim, she's probably already there.
Possible crush syndrome, day 4 of morphine, heart rate 130s, BP 110, palp 2 liters of saline. His heart rate is elevated. You gotta keep him calm or he'll go into VTAC.
Right.
Dentist.
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 Dentist. Dentist.
Okay, dentist, dentist, dentist.
Deal. Rosa, thank you for coming. Carlos, let me know how it works out with that dentist. Dentist. Victor, you owe me a dance.
Straight A's, Harvard, grow up and be a dentist.
It's better than being here. All this and brains, too. What are you, a dentist or
Me? No, hardly, no.
Well, it's kind of mandatory. It's like going to the dentist once a year. You go to the dentist. We get it, you know? Quit bragging.
Dude, I'm not blowing up a house.
Not a house, it's a dentist.
The takes were so long. I mean, we only have one copy, and the point of book club is that we all read the book, right?
Just keep hoping that a dentist shows up.
It's his teeth. I mean, it's...
Mr. Queen, we're going to have to get going if you want to make your dentist appointment. Now, sir.
So I'm over at Rose and Bernard's tent. Do you know he's a dentist?
I mean, he's not the president. He's a doctor.
You're a dentist.
Did she just get back from the dentist?
She's mad at me because I told her sometimes people can't understand her.
Jay! Yo! Jay!
Oh, he looks like the dentist you hooked up with in Laguna.
Oh, yeah, that was in my daddy.
Irony.
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 Nice hat. Irony. How's that working out for you?
No irony here. Free hug. Anytime, anywhere.
You know what the irony is? You know what the irony is? You know what the irony is? I don't even want to be in a relationship right now.
You know the irony of all this. You know the irony of all this. You know the irony of all this.
Well, this is irony for you, Dad. This is irony for you, Dad. This is irony for you, Dad.
What? You can't see the irony in being mad at me about that? No!
On the roof of his mouth. The irony of ironies.
So you can't really blame him for cheating with Adeline. Still, you have to appreciate the irony.
That's the irony. I was so scared of losing you that I did.
It's not a metaphor. That's the irony.
I've just sat too many times on your side of the table not to enjoy the irony of finding myself on this side of it.
Magic. Light brings darkness. What sweet irony.
Respond. Respond.
Respond. Respond.
Respond.
Your bread and butter. That's exactly the kind of story that you would respond to. Respond to. Respond to.
I'm not even gonna respond to that.
We can't be surprised if she doesn't respond. Doesn't respond.
Kate, be careful.
She continued to write, she continued to play shows, and I think, it was encouragement to see the fans respond.
Governor, please, if you want to respond to Senator McCain's comments about health care,
Pivot.
So why don't you stop whinging and cheer the fuck up?
Eric, I really wouldn't respond.
Well, do you know how a Chinese person would respond to that?
No, how?
I had this magical idea that everyone gets their own homing pigeon to respond with.
Since you've shown me your little party piece, I will respond in kind with a little diversion of my own.
You don't have to respond, just listen.
Witnesses saw you with Annabelle at the opening night party. It sounds like she didn't respond too well to your advances.
Why would she?
All units, 1078 at 2nd and Fletcher. Please respond.
Last patrol, Delta Charlie 52, 1060. Officer responding, over.
Keep talking to him. He seems to respond to you.
Why is Eiling bad?
You run into any trouble, I'll be in your ear talking you through it.
And what if he doesn't respond well?
Persuade.
Persuade.
Persuade. Persuade. Persuade.
What if I say no?
I'll persuade you. I'll persuade you. I'll persuade you.
They know the trouble in these waters. They will not sail in them.
I believe they can be persuaded, sir. Persuaded, sir. Persuaded, sir.
Might I suggest that you speak with Governor Wallace and Sheriff Clark and urge them against violence instead of trying to persuade us not to have a peaceful protest.
Once you get all of your friends together, and it must be all of them, everyone who left, and once you've persuaded them to join you, I had hoped they would sit out this war. Gabriel's obviously persuaded some of them to join him.
So did you persuade Cam to fire Max?
What, you think my dad should be allowed to work at the Jeffersonian?
Is there any way I could just persuade you to look at these and guess cause of death?
A campaign must be designed to persuade the electorate that the candidate is on their side.
His sister, Mrs. Chetwood, sent me the receipt. I'm trying to persuade Mrs. Patmore to make it. And I'm trying to persuade her ladyship that I've already planned the dinner with her, and I can't change it now.
So what did you do? How about I tell you what you did? You persuaded the complainant not to press charges. Got a withdrawal complaint signed, killing the case.
And I.
Who?
I persuaded a tech at the Real-Time Crime Center to copy this for me.
For years, he came to me for help. I persuaded the government to bail him out in exchange for some of IFT's patents.
I lied. He gave me a disc to take home and watch. Thought it would persuade me to tell my story.
Royal.
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 You have earned a place with the Montreal Royals. Montreal Royals. Montreal Royals.
Taking care of the king.
Of course. And on that note, I was thinking it might be nice to have a royal feast. A royal feast. A royal feast.
Wants to hug my sheer awesomeness.
Stop it! Do not touch the royal silks. Royal silks. Royal silks.
We don't need these. We do. If we don't get 40 boxes, they won't be free. I've met actual queens, and this isn't royal behavior.
Tell you what, back home, we dragged the whole royal family into interrogation separately. Let them stew, catch them.
I really should have caught that.
It's okay. You're still part of the royal family.
I used to play in there for hours, dreaming of what my royal life would be when I grew up.
Leonard, nice to meet you.
Well, I hope maybe you'll be able to come to our wedding tomorrow. Royal Hawaiian?
Royal Hawaiian Center, please.
ISIS.
Let's go home.
Guys! We are the Royal Guard! Dwarves loyal to Snow White! This is our chance to prove ourselves to the prince!
Microscope.
Microscope. Microscope. Microscope. Microscope.
Microbiology professor.
What's that?
That's someone who studies things you can only see with a microscope. 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 So really, really, really tiny things.
Fascinated. You mustn't mistake that for desire or empathy. It's like I have a true monster under the microscope. Microscope. Microscope.
Let me grab my microscope. Microscope. Microscope.
Of course.
You're not buying this crap, are you, baby?
Someone go get a microscope so we can locate Mr. DeMarco's pecker.
You know what? I'm not stripping. I'm not stripping for no...
She spent her days looking at life through a microscope.
And nights.
Take a look at that sand in the microscope.
What is it?
A parasitic infection.
Find them. Yeah, I know how tough it can be. The crazy fans, the constant scrutiny, the pressure of living your life under a microscope. I mean, I can relate.
We'll put units on him. Put him under the microscope. If it's him, he won't be able to make a move without us knowing it.
After studying genetic blood anomalies, I've kind of know my way around a microscope.
Well, I hope it's better than that fusion place you took me to, where I needed this microscope to find the food. Oliver, hey.
Then when I was examining her blood in the microscope, she said, Mommy.
Our house has been under the microscope lately.
I already feel like I'm under the microscope.
Because you are.
Radical.
Radical.
Radical. Radical.
Radical.
You don't believe in radical Islam, radical Islam, radical Islam. You love the West.
Did your husband have any radical political views? Radical political views? Radical political views, Mrs. Bell?
Terrorists?
See, Palmer fought the radicals, just as I have. Just as I have. He was targeted.
Yeah, it looks that way.
Us are KGB radicals. True believers and trained assassins, among other things.
These were major radicals, Ben, who know how to hide.
It is unlike you to introduce such a free radical into an otherwise highly functional relationship.
My research.
This man is not your normal radical. He's already killed once.
Most of those men are pretenders, attracted to his ideas because they made them feel like radicals. But Thomas...
No.
I confess I was amused at the idea of an Irish radical for a chauffeur, but I see now I've been naive.
Oh, come on. There's a radical difference between $71,000 in royalties and the potential millions from the plaintiff's voice recognition software.
Yes. An anti-Quintana firebrand determined to prevent a radical shift to the left in Latin America. What's his name again?
Here's a radical thought. Go old school. Challenge Stewart to a fight.
Acceptable. Acceptable. Acceptable.
Acceptable.
Acceptable.
No.
I think we need a minute.
No, we don't. You'll have to do better.
This is not the time to play good cop, bad cop.
No, I'm not. 50 million is not acceptable. Not acceptable. Not acceptable.
We can go. Fine, and while we're there, if a whale swims by, we can throw a harpoon. A whale is not a fish, so that metaphor is acceptable. It's acceptable. It's acceptable.
All right, so if I get my blue suit dry cleaned, will that be acceptable? Be acceptable? Be acceptable to everyone?
No, my client already gave me the acceptable amount, which is...
Mackenzie. What's going on here?
Excuse me, I'm changing.
This is not acceptable.
We're not prepared to settle.
Well, we're way beyond that point, Mr. Hines. The only acceptable number is the full 5 million.
I prefer negative reinforcement. Silent treatment, the cold shoulder. You know, you make people squirm, they'll perform.
It's also an acceptable form of human conduct.
Which I want nothing to do with.
Misinformation. It's an acceptable method of extracting a confession.
Although I still don't get why you're into meditation all of a sudden.
Division meds I was hooked on did a number on my blood pressure. Doctors say I have to get it down to an acceptable level.
A driver's on his way to meet Heidecker now. Delivered the payments.
I find Mr. Beecher's payments acceptable. Thank you.
How about doing deliveries for a florist?
That seems acceptable.
Do you have your own car?
I don't drive.
I didn't steal anyone. Your assistant is totally hitting on this jerk, and he loves it.
Well, that's not acceptable. I mean, I'm her boss.
Lest.
Lest. Lest.
Lest.
Lest.
I call it the wall of fallen douches. Lest we forget how douchey those upstairs guys.
All right, let's give this another go, shall we?
Get it together, all right? Lest you forget, lest you forget, lest you forget. We need this.
Lest you forget, lest you forget, lest you forget. She said my bloody name.
I will not do it, lest I cease to honor mine own truth.
Give. Share.
lest we die unbloomed.
Sir, for the last 3 years, you have managed to seize much of my inheritance.
Hold your tongue, Edward, lest you make a claim you cannot retract.
Now go, lest the prying eyes of Florence see us together and quit. Now we're interested in why Da Vinci required the Jew's body, and lest you be tempted to feign further ignorance.
Listen, man, I'm glad you're heading into this thing full throttle, but lest we forget, that guy shot his own man in the neck for fun.
You decided you had to eliminate Haley, lest she grow so ill that someone tipped the truth.
I never assumed we were universally loved.
But you would prefer I ignore Coventry's ineptitude, lest more crude drawings appear.
Builders, tears for whores, lest they forget.
Underline.
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 Cross-examine. The judge has to have this underlined.
No, we underlined at the closing.
I'm not opposed to it in principle. Goodness.
If you could underline the parts that are fiction.
Certainly.
If you could look at the underlined item there.
What do you want to drink, Shell? Herbal tea?
Oh, look. Oh, it says toilet roll and it's underlined twice. Oh.
If I ever see your ugly pissant dealers loitering around our bike shop again, you'll fucking regret it. And then, like, underline regret it.
Relax. I know it's a figure of speech, but he really did seem to underline the anything.
Capital D. Bold face, underline, like dated.
You remembered.
Well, you put it in my calendar. Huge letters, double underline. What do you want to do to celebrate?
Well, that just underlines the main point of the discussion that we're going to have this morning.
Legitimate.
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 You'd see that they're sending representatives to meet us in person. They have a phone number, and their business address is legitimate. Is legitimate. Is legitimate.
That's not a legitimate business model. Legitimate business model. Legitimate business model.
That'll be $10. Whoa. This is a legitimate transaction. A legitimate transaction. A legitimate transaction. You understand?
My name is Sergeant James Dapp. Ask me a legitimate question.
Shut up. Come on, how many times did I tell you guys? My dad
is a legitimate businessman. It's a legitimate medical condition, and you're the one who told me to go to the doctor.
It's a big international art event they hold in Honolulu every year.
Where the legitimate art world gathers, there's a black market that travels with it.
Any idea where it might have been customized?
Not in any legitimate shop, that's for sure.
Look, I didn't plan on stealing, at least not at first. I had a legitimate job at Bear Stearns.
Amongst.
Amongst.
Amongst. Amongst.
Amongst.
Just find a gas station?
Honey, we are going camping, not antiquing. At some point, you're going to have to tinkle amongst the trees, amongst the trees, amongst the trees.
There's a killer amongst us.
Real cute. You try to jump in? What are we talking about? There's a code. Amongst men. Amongst men. Amongst men. It goes something like this. I saw her first.
Design book covers, amongst other things. I'm sorry, can you just give us one moment? Just talk amongst ourselves. Thank you.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Don't let him scare you off.
I thought I told you to.
Talk amongst myself. Yeah, I got bored.
Really?
This, Clyde Oberholt, you are a god. You are men amongst other smaller, tinier men.
Your future ex-husband?
Wow, nice to meet you.
Okay, listen, I've got to meet a client. I got to go. So just talk amongst yourselves, and you two make a very handsome couple.
Yeah.
He walks amongst us, but he is not one of us. Your tattoos, that's what they say.
He spent a week with the others, and he brought one of them back with him. Here, amongst us. Juliet, you lived amongst the others. Why would Ben say the people coming here intend to do us harm?
Because he's a liar.
How long did you guys debate amongst yourselves whether or not to ask me why the phone rang?
5 minutes.
Absolutely. Let me just redistribute our thingies amongst our various bags.
Cultivate.
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 Cultivate. Cultivate.
We must learn to read, to stimulate our own imaginations, to cultivate our own consciousness.
We cultivate seaweed, and extract from it a nourishing gelatin.
And yes, I know, I cultivated it a little. The myth of Margot Roth Spiegelman.
Circumstances.
Oh, but Olivia is an educated, cultivated woman. One that befits a man of your artistic genius.
We learned to cultivate the sea as we came to farm the land.
Way to kill someone, isn't it? I mean, cultivate bees, feed them, and then poke the hive with a stick every time Hillary Taggart runs by?
It seems he's cultivated himself a niche.
And what is Alawadia?
A rare spiny plant cultivated primarily in Madagascar.
It's a skill we must cultivate.
Why would I do that?
I think Chang was wrong.
It would take an entire lifetime to cultivate enough power to cast a spell over an entire kingdom.
Do you know how she did it?
With a powerful magic that she cultivated with that most precious commodity, time.